I'm Luis Montealegre. I'm from Puebla. I'm a software engineer. I'm currently working for EA and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm 42 years old. I have 18 years of experience as a software engineer. Even though I lived most of my life in my hometown in Puebla, I moved here 6 years ago thanks to CodersLink, and that was my first step towards EA. The first time that I used a computer, I was 13 years old. I got a scholarship from one of the first schools for programming in Puebla. I remember I used to go there and program for a few hours every weekend because I didn't own a computer. And I remember the most interesting part about programming was that I could relate it to algebra and equations and all that. And it seemed like pretty incredible to me that I could do all of those things super quickly with a few lines of code in the computer. You know, working with computers made me realize that's what I wanted to do. And then I kept on studying programming when I went to high school, and that's how I started my career. When I started at university, I didn't own a computer. I didn't have one until almost the end of the first year. I used to use one from the labs of the university where we could share time with a computer every day and have our homework done there. I remember I bought a computer that was assembled, like that was the cheapest option back then because they were still very expensive. And I remember most of the things that I learned were very formal, like mathematics, formal specifications and things like that, so I didn't learn too many programming languages. Most of the time, as I was saying, I was learning C and other languages that weren't very popular in the job market back then. So I remember the first time that I tried to look for a job, I knew how to read a paper and how to write one, but I didn't know much about how to create a web page because that was very popular back then and I didn't know much about it. In 2003, when I graduated from college, I also had a chance to be part of the Taekwondo state team and had a chance to participate on my first national championship. So those were back then my two passions, so I was very excited to finally being able to be part of the state team and, you know, have a chance to be part of the national team. But having being a Taekwondo can be very expensive, and my family didn't have much money, so I decided to continue my career as a software engineer. But when I started looking for jobs, I didn't have the experience that I needed. As I was saying, like my career was mostly towards with a scientific background, and I didn't know much about programming languages. So I decided to study a master's degree. So I chose to study distributed artificial intelligence, which was like the most popular thing back then. I did well. I published several papers. One of them was published and I was able to present it in Japan. My two passions are programming and teaching. I worked at 10 universities back then in Mexico. At some point I was working at 5 of them at the same time, but it's very exhausting and teaching doesn't pay well in Mexico. So I decided to stop at some point, and what I would like to do now is to teach, but only to encourage people to pursue their dreams as developers and maybe move to another country. In my 14 years of experience, I worked for multiple companies in Puebla, but at some point I was wanting to have more time with my kids, so I decided to start a consultancy company. But I realized that I wasn't as good as a developer as I was as an entrepreneur, so I didn't have too much work coming on. So one day, one of my business partners told me to go to one of those meetups, and then I knew about CodersLink, and I knew about Tito, who's one of the founders, and this friend told me to reach out to him because he could connect me with people so I could get a job here in the US. So I decided to do that, and the rest is history. In 2016, CodersLink was taking its first steps. It was one of the first linkers, And in less than 1 week after talking to Tito, I traveled here to do my first job interview. And then in less than a month, I was already living here with my whole family. It's been 6 years now. Now both of my kids speak more English than Spanish, but we're so happy and glad that we took the risk and moved here thanks to CodersLink. Since moving to the US, I have more professional opportunities, like having the chance to work for EA. And also my family, my 2 sons have their school and friends here now. And even though I sometimes miss my family, my friends, and living in Mexico, I feel like I couldn't go back because now their lives are here and we're very happy. After moving here, I kept on participating on meetups. One of my favorite was a coding challenge. There was this time when I won it, but it was special because many people found out on Facebook, and it's very uncommon to me to have like 100 likes, 100 comments. But it was special because one of my ex-bosses from Mexico saw it. He was working for EA, and when he saw that post, he remembered that I was living here as well, and he knew about a position at EA, and he encouraged me to apply. At the beginning, I was very insecure, even probably a little bit scared, because I've never been a gamer. I only owned like 2 consoles, and the last one that I had was a Super Nintendo. So I started to play games with my kids, but I'm not a real like super gamer or anything. So he encouraged me. He said that I should, apply, and I did. I started to work there in 2018. After 2 years at EA, I was promoted from software engineer to software architect. I'm part of the player experience team. My main project is called Creator Network. This program started as a small program in the marketing department, but now it's a key initiative for EA.